Yo, what is up, guys? This is, of course, your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And I hope you guys are enjoying your Tuesday afternoon or wherever time it is over there. I know it might be supper time for some people out on the East Coast. But again, I hope you guys are enjoying your day. We got a lot of NBA news to talk about. I wanted to talk about this story, and I didn't get to it yesterday. Before we do, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button again. All that stuff helps out the algorithm and lets people know, hey, you appreciate the channel, you love the channel, and you love talking basketball. So appreciate you guys kind of tuning in and sharing this video to other people because we have a very interesting scenario going on here. And that is, of course, Adam Silver walks back on the NBA potentially having a promotion and relegation system similar to the one that you see in English football. And so, for my people that don't really watch soccer or football, as it's called overseas, this promotion relegation system, if you guys know the Premier League, I think that'd probably be the most popular league around soccer fans. Is that there are 20 teams in the Premier League, and the bottom three teams are the ones that get relegated to the division down. So basically, how it works is that uh, three teams for every division. I believe there's 87 divisions in soccer, especially in the English soccer. So like all the bottom three teams would then move down and continue to go down until the 87th division. And so clearly, you guys can see from all this stuff, the NBA is trying to do this for tanking purposes. But what's interesting and kind of funny in a way to juxtapose the NBA from the Premier League is that some of these Premier League teams, like your Liverpools, your Arsenals, your Manchester Uniteds, your Man Cities, all wanted to join a Super League with other teams such as Real Madrid and Barcelona. If you guys know them, they also do have basketball academies as well, but they're primarily known for their soccer. And they wanted to create that stuff, or I should say the Super League, so they couldn't get relegated because they understand that there's a lot of money at stake when it comes down to all this stuff. And so for me, when I look at this whole situation, when it comes to the whole, NBA trying to, create a system that's like that, whereas now these other teams are trying to get away from that. I know that there was a lot of pushback from a lot of fans around the league, from whether it was from La Liga or Premier League. I know there was a lot of people that were frustrated with their clubs agreeing to this contract or agreeing to the Super League, and so they backed off of it. But don't think for a second that these clubs don't want to join the Super League or create a league to really kind of talk about and really dominate and show the money making ability that these clubs have. And that's kind of where it's interesting to me that the NBA is thinking about adding this stuff because I don't know if the owners would agree to it because in the end of the day, the owners want to make the most money. And I know that Adam Silver is doing this out of investment of making sure that teams don't tank and teams don't necessarily try to purposely lose on time or purposely lose so they can gain more money and or like gain the number one pick. Obviously, this year being Victor Wembanyama, I know that's a huge people are trying to tank for him, and that's kind of what he's trying to avoid. But here's the thing that I will say to Adam Silver is that I think as much as we like to criticize these people, as much as we like to criticize what's going on, I don't necessarily think that relegating a team to, the G League or, making some expansion teams, like maybe making like six or seven maybe eight expansion teams, and then the bottom two end up going down. Because the reason why I think that would be bad news is because then what happens to the teams draft picks, right? I mean, they would potentially get number one, number two, and you could say, oh, well, they start there and they have to climb their way back up. But I think at the end of the day, I think the bigger thing for me when it comes down to the NBA's tanking thing is that the teams that are going to purposely tank almost always do not do well. I mean, we can say one thing about the San Antonio Spurs back then when they had Robinson, and then they ended up Tim Duncan. But that's few and far in between. I mean, we've seen the Cavaliers for years struggle to pick guys at the top when they were tanking for all those years, and they finally got better because they finally decided to put a plan in place. And I kind of attribute that to Kobe Altman rather than I would say anybody else in that organization. Like I don't think it's from the owner. I think Altman has a plan for the Cavaliers and kind of what direction they're going in, and you can clearly see that that's working. Whereas, I think teams like the 76ers, they did that all years ago, but look what's happening now. Joel Embiid isn't playing to the standard that we've seen him, but it hasn't come with a championship. I mean, the next guy that they got, Ben Simmons, has already left the team. Markel Fultz, another guy that they drafted for the process, already left the team. And so I think by penalizing teams by taking away or moving them down or demoting them, I think a lot of teams, a lot of leagues are trying to get rid of that because they realize how much more money they can make by staying at the top and gaining that notoriety. And I just don't see the NBA owners ever agreeing to that because I think as much as they want to like play by the rules and make it fair, um, at the end of the day, the teams that are going to do well, the teams that kind of know how to run an organization are going to do so, whereas other teams probably not. And so, it's kind of funny to me. You kind of see the Pelicans; they were ran poorly until they hired a coach and they finally had a plan in place. Like then you start seeing like the process. Whereas like I think it's just a matter of ebb and flows, right? I mean, one thing we could talk about is like the Sacramento Kings. For years they've been terrible at drafting players, years of terribleness in terms of guys that they selected or trying to build the roster around. I think now they kind of have a decent roster, but it's still something that they need to continue to work on and develop. Another example too was the many years ago the Phoenix Suns. Once the Steve Nash era was over, they decided to go in a different direction. They decided to tank for a lot of these guys, and they didn't really get anywhere until they brought in a veteran leadership of Chris Paul along with Devin Booker and now Aiton. But even Aiton right now is struggling. I mean, again, you see these teams that finally put it together, but at the end of the day, there's teams that are managed well that can get an NBA championship like the San Antonio Spurs, or there's teams that's managed poorly like your 76ers and your Phoenix Suns, where now there's some trouble in paradise. And so, to me, I think it's just up to the eye of the beholder, in my opinion, of like what you decide to do for these teams. Again, I know Adam Silver is trying to make it more like soccer. I get it. Soccer is the most popular sport in the world, and the more that you can make it similar to soccer, is probably for the better in terms of the product, in terms of the drama and things like that. But again, I don't see the players agreeing to it. I don't see the owners agreeing to it because what player is going to want to play in a G League affiliate team because your team sucks so bad that you have to go down a level? I just don't necessarily see it. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where, like, oh, well, the G League teams are finally going to get their chances. But I think the big thing that Adam Silver needs to focus on is expansion teams. Like, I think you need to really focus on trying to expand the teams. I think there are a lot of cities out there that could deserve a team and definitely need to have a team out here in the NBA. Obviously, I'm talking about my Supersonics. Vegas. I don't really see the appeal in Vegas, in my opinion. I know that maybe I'm out there on that. I know there's probably a lot of people, Sin City, gambling, drinking, good times, but I don't really see the appeal in it, in my opinion. Um, Making a roster there. I think of places like St. Louis. I think of Kansas City. Those places they kind of might need a team, and so I'm curious to see if they can kind of figure them out one or try to do something for them because I think they definitely deserve teams out there. But we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be a very interesting scenario. And again, I know Adam Silver shared this information with Phoenix Suns organization staff members, but I think at the end of the day, I think it's a little bit too draconian and it's a little bit too uh, not what the people want. I think that I don't think anybody that's a fan is asking for for one of these things. That being, of course, a league where your team like does so bad they have to go down in the division. Like I don't think that's going to be the case because then now you're going to have to add those G League teams to the lottery pool, and I think for the most part those teams are going to get the lottery pick. And so again, we'll see what happens. I'm very curious to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys think of this. Adam Silver walks back the potential possibility of implementing a promotion and relegation system. Again, like I said, interesting, but at the same time, uh, let's see what happens because I think it's not something that the NBA owners are going to want. It's not something that the players are going to want. So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of Adam Silver potentially walking back the rumors of the NBA implementing an promotion and relegation system? Want to know you guys' comments and opinions in the comment section down below. And before we get out of here, just want to say thank you to everybody that's tuned into the channel, that's subscribed to the channel, that's kind of showed support and love, whether through donations and things like that. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys can, donate to the channel. Again, all this money that we get obviously goes to the channel, goes to the stuff that my boy Pete and Brad need to kind of make sure that the streams are top notch, right? And make sure that we have clear information that you guys can understand, and also kind of graphics and things like that, microphones, things like that. I mean, Again, all that stuff goes a long way. So I do appreciate the love and support that you guys are giving here on the charge. But anyway, guys, like I said, my name is Bernie. Thank you once again for joining. Please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the NBA Charge. Peace out, everybody.